Hello friends, we continue now. We're in petal number 7, and we are looking at practical approaches to using the energies with which you are endowed through your astrological and ray chart in accomplishing the tasks related to the development of petal number 7. So let's take a look here. This is the sacrifice sub-knowledge petal. In the sacrifice tier, the will petals for the mental plane, and it appears that we are, I think we're dealing with program number 69. I trust that is the case. 69, 70, 71. Yeah, that's the case. And we're going to continue doing it the way we have done it, looking at the major energies available, and also looking at pages 541 and 542 of Cosmic Fire, and 822 and 824 of Cosmic Fire. This is the petal of knowledge for the mental plane. Its unfoldment marks the period wherein the man consciously utilizes all that he has gained or is gaining under the law for the definite benefit of humanity. So one must be law-abiding in the use of this petal that is obvious, and it's a Libra petal, we know, and thus strongly related to Saturn, which represents the law, as does Libra. Petal number 1, from about 822 or 823, the will to sacrifice through knowledge on the mental plane. That's using all the knowledge one has in a sacrificial manner, and thus intelligently to dominate the entire threefold lower man. And I suppose that at first we have the domination of the etheric physical vehicle, but as the initiatory process proceeds, we have the domination of the astral vehicle, and eventually the mental. And, you know, this petal is not unfolded, nor are any of the sacrifice petals completely unfolded, until the 9th petal is completely unfolded. This is my impression. So there's going to be continuous work in the use of knowledge for the control of the entire threefold lower man, and continuous work in making that knowledge available to humanity in service, for service purposes. This is the petal which is touched by the rod of initiation, I believe, at the first initiation, with its reflex effect upon the 5th petal and somewhat upon the 6th petal. So this is the petal in which the man begins to tread the path of initiation, at least the path of probationary initiation, reaching the true path of initiation by the 9th petal and becoming a true initiate with the complete unfoldment of the 9th petal. So here we have a pretty succinct description, using all knowledge and using this knowledge intelligently to bring the threefold lower man as a personality into alignment and service to the will of the soul. Think about the divine plan here, which is emanating, well, at least it is formulated on the atomic plane. And think about the fact that this is a Libra petal, and the triads, which are connected with the spiritual triad, and are ruled by the sign Libra, and Libra particularly is connected with the atomic plane, whereon spiritual will, which is law, the will of God is law, emanates. So we see this strong will connection. Now, if you have a powerful ray 1 here, obviously there will be the willful willful use of knowledge to control the threefold lower man. And one will apply this knowledge applied. Whoop. Okay. Knowledge applied in a strong manner according to the law, the lawful application of all manner of knowledge to improve the human condition and to bring the third aspect, technique of duality, third aspect of divinity into shape. Libra has so much to do with the third aspect of divinity. So if we're going to look at this in terms of what one must do, let's just say in your life, in my life, let there be a willful approach to self-control, and let the will be used to direct all that is known or becoming known into service. So the will to serve through knowledge must be exercised. And, you know, there's so much Saturn here and so much of the first ray. It is a knowledge petal, but because of knowledge, because of your knowledge, increase your skill in action for sacrifice. In other words, sacrifice with greater skill in action and with strong and intelligent will. And also goodwill, because the heart is being stimulated here, because the heart is being stimulated at the first degree. I think, you know, there are quite a few exercised. Okay, let's spell that in the right way, perhaps. Okay. Yeah. There are many students of occultism, I think, and people who are studying the theosophical work who find their attention in this petal. They are disciples. They are using will and mind together. Use your will and mind together to advance your discipleship. They're using will and mind, and they are learning with the stimulation of the heart center at the first degree, the increasing use of love. So they are advancing on the path. They have entered the kingdom of God, so hold the balance so that you live at a point of tension, which is within the kingdom of God. Okay. Now, oh, I see what's happened here. I have some rather, there we go. All right, I'll try to bring this forward. Yeah. I'll try to bring this forward a bit, and hopefully this will be done correctly. More or less correctly. Now with the second ray, or ray 2, learn, no, I'm sorry. There we go. So, learn the meaning of the heart's love in relation to the expression of the golden rule. After all, Libra is a very strong sign for reciprocity and for treating others fairly and in love, divine love and understanding. And let us say, use the energy of love, wisdom, in the application of the knowledge you have accumulated. And treat your physical, your personality and its vehicles with wisdom and with loving understanding. Let's just say there's always the danger when working under Virgo, as we find in the Virgo labor of Hercules, that we may try to beat the personality into submission and cause it to be a poor, dead thing and not a very useful instrument for the soul, as if somehow to be spiritual is to have a weak and ineffective outer instrument, which is not at all the case. So here is love, wisdom, and we are applying it for self-control, wise self-control. Control your vehicles, but wisely and with understanding of their nature. And pour forth knowledge with love, wisdom. And I think, we find a lot of people doing that as they attempt to teach on this ray, as they attempt to make the ageless wisdom more available, as Master DK has done. I'm recalling a friend who was the last disciple in Master DK's recent groups. Her name was Marion Walter. She was RSW in the group. And she said Master DK's ashram was ruled by Libra. Well, one has to take this with a grain of salt, but one can see this blending of the second and third ray in Libra, certainly, and one can see that in Gemini as well. So here we're just accumulating knowledge, but it is accumulate knowledge for the sake of soul endeavor. Sorry. And there's not such a harsh application of knowledge as there would be under the first ray. But let's just say, under the first ray, obey the laws, the spiritual and natural laws which knowledge reveals. It is a strongly third ray petal, as are all the knowledge petals, but this particular petal has to do with Libra, which is perhaps the greatest expression of the third divine aspect. So this third divine aspect is always present. And when we reach the third ray, meaning that if the third ray is strong in your particular system, well, stock your mind well with useful knowledge and apply it to diverse situations with skill in action. So here, learn the various methods of self-control, i.e., the control of the lower threefold man, personality. And here as well, take a broad view of the kinds of service which must be offered, and play your role in that offering with real intelligence. And let's just say, bring the mind under bring the mind into the service of the heart. Because the first initiation starts here, and so intelligence, while used, must be subservient to heart motivation. Okay. So, we have many people today studying, for instance, the Tibetan theosophy, gathering knowledge, learning the ageless wisdom, but the key is application. So learn that there is no initiation without application of that which you have accumulated in service. So DK warns us against simply accumulating knowledge for its own sake, piling it up. Master Morya warns us about this. It just causes further complication. It actually causes delay. It causes responsibility. It's a karmic factor. So whatever you manage to accumulate in terms of your studies and your experience with the world, find the place that it can be applied. And just in general, apply all knowledge with love, according to the heart, which has been stimulated at the first degree. Of course, there are different areas. We have strenuous and abnormal efforts going on here in these last three petals, and that to follow those efforts or to persist with them leads to the first initiation, then to the second, then to the third, and so forth. But at first, we have to work at getting the entire personality in line. So let's see, prepare intelligently for the first phase of the divine marriage. And you will think of other things as you think of this basically third-ray petal in a third-ray sign, but with deep second-ray motivations here. Well, ray 4 is the ray of sacrifice. At least it does rule the law of sacrifice, and to learn to sacrifice all knowledge for the sake of soul growth in yourself and in others. And let's just say this is a question of balance often when we come to the fourth ray or to Libra, even though we are told that, or we are not told that the fourth ray comes through Libra, but I think if you think of a Lord of the constellation and all the rays it can have, it can have a mental nature, emotional, physical nature, and so forth, personal soul and monadic nature. It would seem that the fourth ray has to be found somewhere in this Libran presentation. Of course, even on the little planet the Earth, all the rays are expressed, even though the major rays are 1, 2, and 3. But some of the other rays, I think, have a place within the ray formula of our planetary logos, and within this Lord of the constellation Libra, I think the fourth ray, in its harmonizing aspect, has a role. So let's just say work at the knowledgeable harmonization of the soul aspect, which you are approaching, and the personality aspect, which you are controlling. Achieve a balance, a harmonization between these two aspects so that they can serve each other. And do not throw away the personality aspect, because it is needed. Now, that's the mistake made by Hercules in Virgo, but it's not made in Libra, where a reasonable balance for a certain time is achieved between personality abilities and soul demands. So let's just say here, let there be harmonious justice between the two aspects when Ray 4 is strong and you're working in this petal, and use knowledge as a bridging agent between the old and the new, and thus preserve a true spirituality which is not fanatical. There's always a danger around the time of the first initiation that one catches the vision of that which lies ahead and strives so hard to achieve it that one loses one's balance or common sense. You know the old saying that before enlightenment, the mountain. During enlightenment, no mountain. Following enlightenment, again, the mountain. So even though we have seen through the unreality of the world that is presented to us, we have understood that it is basically an illusion. It is, in a sense, a very actual illusion, and we have to learn to deal with it because it's not going away. I mean, the great sage Shankaracharya said that most mysterious is Maya and eternal. We will always have Maya. There's no way to rid ourselves of the world Maya, which is essentially the universe. And there will always be representations of the incredible potential of the Absolute as new and entirely unique universes presented in objectivity. We're not going to be rid of Maya, so we have to learn to deal with it, even though we realize that it is essentially unreal. So this is a good place, you know, prepare to be a member of the new group of world servers ruled by Ray 4. And this group works to prevent cleavages between the old and the new, between conditions as they are and the inevitable Uranian reconditioning. But, you know, sometimes there can be splits between those who have the revolutionary ideas and those who are conservative, even reactionary, want to keep things the way they are, and they like conditions just fine. This is the ongoing battle between Saturn and Uranus, and the fourth ray can be the bridge here, and both Saturn and Uranus are related to the sign Libra, which is so strong in this particular process related to the unfoldment of this petal. And let's see, what else? Well, we might say, you know, work for the right use of sacral energy and the balance between the sexes. Libra is a sign having a lot to do with sexuality, and the right relations between the sexes can be worked out in Libra, we are told, and under the fourth ray, the harmonizing fourth ray. Now, you know, obviously one could continue to ponder on these things and find additional pieces of so-called advice. You'll have to come up with your own advice. You know, you ponder the types of energies that are available and say, here I am, and this is what I have, and what do I do? Because it is in the intelligent doing, which includes thinking, that progress is made. So, so often we just kind of let the energies happen, and what we should be doing is working in a quite a focused and conscious manner with the energies which we detect and which are available. Well, now here is the fifth ray in a knowledge petal for sacrifice. So let precision of thought and method sort of help or sustain or enhance the application of knowledge for service purposes. See, there's one thing to have the good intention to apply knowledge, but we sometimes need to really refine our technique. So become knowledgeable about the specific area in which knowledge is to be applied. So learn the techniques of self-control to be achieved through the application of knowledge. And learn the requirements to meet the initiator, and learn more deeply the methods of contacting the solar angel, the solar angel, and thus lift yourself out of the strictly mystical stage of spiritual approach. So with the fifth ray, when we're talking about the application of all that is being gained for self-control, it's got to facilitate that control by the right use of energy. So learn more and more about the right use of energy in achieving self-control and in achieving a better result in your service. Well, you know, we expect those people who help each other in certain critical fields, like, you know, let's say medicine. We expect a huge study to have accompanied the motive to bring relief and to help with the health condition. So, in other words, we have to serve knowledgeably, and the third ray is part of that. But the fifth ray adds to the precision of the knowledge which is applied. It's all, you know, quite complex. It has to do with your background, your evolution, what you have achieved so far, and the interesting kind of combination that will result from the combination of your ray formula and your present astrological chart unfolding as it is in time through progressions and directions. So many things are going on. We have to choose what is salient, what is germane. But let's just say meditate here and learn the meaning of contemplation, even though it cannot be fully applied. So let's just say, let the mind really enter the task of spiritual approach and all spiritual processes. The mind doesn't so much enter when we are mystics and we attempt to feel our way into a higher stage of realized divinity. It's more sentient. But now, let's just say, as Alice Bailey has said, the disciple and, let's say, the initiate, disciple and initiate must have a well stocked mind. So the initiator has to know very much about the fifth ray, especially the Lord of the world, who has to apply the rod with great precision, but then so does the Bodhisattva. So it's all about really learning the specifics of the energies that one is dealing with, and enhancing your spiritual progress with deep knowledge. Enhance your spiritual progress with precise knowledge. So that's adding to the tendency to accumulate. The accumulative tendency is strongly related to the third ray, just the way the absorptive tendency to the second ray, and the causal body for the third ray type is said to fall apart or be destroyed through sufficient accumulation. Just read in Letters on Occult Meditation in the early teens there, around page 15, 16, 17, and we'll see how the factor of accumulation relates to the third ray. And this being very much a third ray petal. But let's just say that really approach the solar angel in meditation, knowledgeably. Well, with ray 6, continue to aspire, and with desires now more under control, idealize the soul and its world, and be so dedicated to the institution of soul culture in your personality that nothing can deviate you. The whole thing about the sixth ray when working at its best is you cannot take these people off the track. They are single-minded in their pursuit of the soul-regulated life. So let's say that. Be single-minded but non-fanatical in your pursuit of the soul-regulated life. This aspirational tendency, this devotional tendency, is very necessary. We're going to be working towards the second degree, and it's on the sixth ray itself. Maybe it's not so necessary when approaching the third degree, but it never really wanes entirely in its importance. We're still in a very strong sixth ray period, and will be, from the point of view of a higher cycle, for another, what do you say, about another 21,000 years. So this factor of devotion, how does it go? Dedication, to glamour, devotion, is very necessary. So this is use. Okay. Well, over here for the fifth ray, begin knowledgeably the glamorization process. But let's just say that how interesting that in DK's glamour group, or the group that was supposed to learn the techniques for the dissipation of glamour, there was so much sixth ray. Everybody had it. So use the sixth ray to focus on the area of glamour and its dissipation. It's not enough, you need other things, but the sixth ray gives you a kind of magnetism there. And, with the sixth ray, you say things like St. Paul said, count all as loss unless, I reach my high calling, which is in Christ. But be dedicated and devoted. be devoted to reception and expression of soul energy, and count all as loss unless this energy grows in its expression through the personality vehicles. So the sixth ray at this time in our history of humanity has somewhat of a bad reputation. People would like to leave it behind, but it forms such a great foundation for us. So it cannot be relinquished. And you know, the third ray of this particular petal is closely related to the sixth ray. He tells us, you know, 2 2s are 1, 2 2s are 2 1s are 2, 2 2s are 4, 2 3s are 6, and the relationship between those numbers as a result of that mathematical relationship. So let's just say, here's another, develop a high idealism in relation to your expression of knowledge for the sake of others in service. And live up to the ideal which you see when you register soul energy and imagine it conditioning your lower self. So the sixth ray cannot be dispensed with, and at the period of the first initiation, their aspiration must continue. We cannot let the fires of aspiration die. So tend the fires of aspiration as you work in the difficult DFC. As you work in the difficult period between the first and second initiations. And here's another thing, elevate your desires and thus transfer solar plexus energy to the heart center, and this over a long period of time while you're working in the eighth petal, and continue to work somewhat in the seventh petal. So even though maybe the sixth ray does not fit so strongly with Libra, there are ways, of course, to make the rays fit with every sign of the zodiac when you consider the different ray rulers of any particular planet. I mean, a planet is not a monolithic ray. And even Venus has this strong sixth ray component and is strong, so important in the sign Libra. Okay, and now finally the seventh ray in a petal ruled by the seventh sign. Seventh ray in a petal ruled by seventh sign, and very simply, manifest rightly the knowledge you have. Manifest rightly, to get rid of ambiguity here, rightly in service the knowledge you have accumulated and are accumulating. And regulate your personality so that it can be in a sufficiently balanced condition to take the first initiation. We have to remember that the seventh ray is related very much to this first initiation and to this Libran petal. So this ray, when strong in your nature, makes sure that this knowledge that has been accumulated really will be used in a practical manner. Let's just say simply, use knowledge practically for spiritual service and for self-control. So, the third ray can tend to be fairly abstract and may lack technique. Well, add the fifth and the seventh ray, and you have specific knowledge which aids in specific techniques ruled by the seventh ray. So, in general, this is a petal in which we take the first initiation and in which we have entered the realm of sacrifice, and we are no longer thinking strictly of our personal self. Altruism is coming through. So engage in practical altruism. It's so interesting that Libra is a sign associated with the other person in the relationship, and altrui, it means the other one. So we are considering the other one at least as an equal to ourselves, which is not the Leo tendency. We usually, in Leo, the other is small and I am big, And there is in Libra, there is a balancing. And to, let's just say, produce right human relations, which is seventh ray in Libra, through knowledge. Produce right human relations through knowledge applied. Well, generally there is quite an accumulation of knowledge going on in relation to this petal, and it's higher knowledge, isn't it? It's the kind of knowledge which is not just of this world, but it has to be brought down into a practical expression which the seventh ray assists us in doing. So, just think of your own case and the petal in which you may be working in the most focal sort of way, and see, what thoughts come to you about how you are to apply this, these energies in this petal process. I was also just thinking about Ray 2 and the law of polar union, or the law of magnetic impulse, and use all knowledge to meet others as souls under the law of polar union or the law of magnetic impulse. It all has to do with knowledge to establish right human relations, which are essentially soul relations. Well, different ideas will come as we ponder these things. We want to approach with a degree of simplicity. That's why we've laid out the two main requirements: using all knowledge in service and using all knowledge to control the lower threefold personality. Presumably, a knowledgeable control of the threefold personality so that it is increasingly fit for divine union, for the growing yoga of which, in a way, Libra is a symbol. All right, well, now we're going to talk about the astrology of this. And as we're in the sacrifice petals and are almost taking or have taken the first initiation, the esoteric rulers can come into play. We're using these signs in a higher way than they normally would show up in their expression in the earlier petals. So let's see here. Might as well get these colons out of the way. Yeah. All right. Well, with Aries, I come forth, and from the plane of mind I rule. So throw yourself willfully into the acquisition of knowledge of the soul and the fifth kingdom. So enter into higher types of knowledge and engage with those forms of knowledge in which you are thus far deficient. Use the Orishan will to insist upon the control of the personality vehicles. Aries is a sign of control. It may not always have the kind of continuity that is desirable, but it certainly uses a great deal of force to, in the initial phases, to make circumstances comply to the willed objectives. And, let's just say, enter assertively the life of the fifth kingdom of nature, the kingdom of soul. Well, yeah, kingdom of souls. So this is, put aside all fear of what it means to live as a soul increasingly. Just get into it, get on with it, do it. That is so often the factor here. If there's an area where knowledge does not exist, break into that, learn about it, release yourself to enter this new realm with will. So, release yourself to enter the new realm of the soul using your willpower and your power of initiative. So it's like initiate a new relationship between the soul and personality. Become a willing and immediate cooperator. Because after all, we are beginning a whole new phase of work here as an initiate of the first degree, and we have to forge ahead. And of course, this will strengthen the aspiration, and the aspiration will reinforce the will to go forward. Just, progress onward, go forward into the fifth kingdom of nature fearlessly. Now, when it comes to Taurus, it's simply about the increasing of the... Oh, by the way, I come forth and from the plane of mind I rule. Use the ruling power of Aries to assist in the control and domination of the threefold lower self. Okay. Well, different things come to us, not everything is here included, but maybe enough to give us the sense of where it is going. With Taurus, it's all about the growth of the light. So let the soul reveal the types of knowledge which pertain to the soul realm, and thus increase the illumination of the mind. So here in Taurus, it has to do with the acquisition of knowledge. Acquisition. So acquire knowledge of the soul realm and apply it. Live increasingly in the soul light through meditation, and use this light to serve and also to control the lower self. Use this Taurian energy to control the sexual impulse, because we're told that in Taurus, this control over the sex instinct and the sacral center is achieved, and this is what it means in one way to drive the purified bull to the island of the one-eyed men, the Cyclopses. From the time the first initiation is taken, the third eye is stirring. The eye of Shiva, the monad, has taken up a kind of residence within the soul, even though the brain doesn't recognize that, and there is a steady growth of the Shiva eye, of the single eye, through the control of the appetites, the control of the instinctual nature, and this sex is among those impulses which has to be rightly controlled and directed. So, also we could say that in this petal and in this initiation, the sacral center is rising to the throat center. And that's what makes me want to say, if I go back to Ray 3, I would say use the throat center creatively on behalf of soul values and realization. A new type of creativity, Ray 3, the ray of creative intelligence. That's what DK says he prefers to call it. So, different ideas continue to come by association, and we have to be ready, to systematize these at some point. Well, Gemini is a sign associated also with the birth of the Christ, with the first initiation, and let's just say continue to deepen the meditative life which promotes exchange between the soul and personality. And also use Gemini to learn and learn the ropes, the relationships, the connections between things, and build the first part of the Antakarana, which connects the personality with the Egoic Lotus. A Gemini will facilitate that. Continue to attune to the word of the soul, and receive it, and speak it, and apply it. Whoops. Oh, that's no good. Okay. Let's see what happens here. And apply it. All right. This would be the sign. I see how that works. The sign Cancer. Right. So, I recognize my other self, and in the waning of that self, I grow and glow. Continue to lift yourself to the soul perspective. Establish lines of relationship between soul and personality which make the control, the intelligent control of the personality easier. So this is all about dialogue, as I've said, between the soul and the personality. Let the soul communicate increasingly with its instrument. And naturally, Gemini having such a strong capacity to relate in love, it's a great relating agent. So you can go far in promoting the relationship between the pairs of opposites and arrange for their ongoing dialogue and mutual adjustment. Because, how do we know how to act as a personality? How does the soul know our own perspective? It has to do with this exchange of energy. And through Gemini, the energy of one chakra reaches another, the interrelationship of the chakras. So promote the interrelationship of the chakras and continue with the elevation of the sacral center to the throat center. Always with Gemini there is a descent and a rising and descent. And it can work in consciousness, but can also work in the field of energy. So if I were working in this seventh petal, I would really see the opportunity to learn all about the higher worlds and all of the interrelationships between the energies of the higher worlds. I would think that Gemini would use Gemini to reveal the interrelationships. Use Gemini to reveal interrelationships between higher energies. It is, interestingly, DK does connect it with the first initiation. There's some crossover points between Gemini and Virgo. They both seem to be related to this first initiation. And and let's just say the attitude of I serve my brother can be here applied. Later in the ninth petal, maybe I serve the one. So increasing illumination under Taurus, increasing service under Gemini, increasing command and control under Aries, all of these are involved in this seventh petal. This is really the great objective for humanity. We're entering an air sign age, and thus the two other air signs, other than Aquarius, Gemini and Libra, will both be powerful because of their resonance and relationship with Aquarius. So this, let's just say, confirm a conscious brotherly relationship between the pairs of opposites. Confirm a conscious brotherly relationship between the pairs of opposites. Well, when it comes to the sign Cancer, use the first initiation to promote the integration of the soul and personality. It's an integrative sign, a whole-making sign. So see the opposites as members of the same spiritual family. Now this is a third aspect sign, Cancer, and we're dealing with the third ray in this petal, and with Libra, which is the third aspect sign as well, maybe even more so, possibly, than Cancer. In general, we have to recognize the familial relationships between human beings. The one family of man. Now later that wholeness will be seen in even greater oneness by the initiate consciousness. But we begin to realize that we have to serve our fellow human beings with all the knowledge we have, because they are one with ourselves. So the stimulation of the heart will help to recognize the oneness. Also, use the grip of Cancer to enhance the control of the personality by the soul. There's a great be tenacious in pursuing this control through the right use of knowledge. We're told that all knowledge is being used here to achieve that control, that domination of the personality by the soul. So here, let's just say, use knowledge empathically to promote integrative tendencies in those who are helped, and in humanity, humanity as a whole. Here we go. Empathically. Okay. Well, this is, the whole question of integrating the personality and the soul begins more strongly in earnest at the first degree, and a whole-making process is at work here. And knowledge, let's say, use knowledge to help make the soul and personality into one unit. Always with Cancer, it's a question of drawing a ring past knot around the different units or factors which have to be interrelated and made into one unit. So knowledge can definitely assist with this, and we also are achieving a greater oneness with our fellow human beings, recognizing them as members of the same family. When it comes to Leo, this is a sign. This sign is directly related to the first initiation. So this is the opportunity for an individual to take a stand as the soul. Take a stand as if, at least, you were the higher light, the soul, and realize that a new identity is emerging as you are entering the fifth kingdom of nature. Now, use the will to rule which arises in Leo. Use the will to rule which arises in Leo to control and dominate the lower self, which is the lower Leonian self. Always when there is a rising into the second aspect, the heart of the sun is required. And remember what DK says about Leo, that we use Leo to justify knowledge. So justify the knowledge you have accumulated by using it in service to your fellow human beings. So here, let knowledge increase, or let spiritual knowledge, let's put it like that, spiritually related knowledge increase your soul luminosity. And when applying knowledge in service, use the heart center. The soul is the heart, DK has told us. So shine with soul light and love increasingly. So this is an excellent sign in relation to this particular petal. It's so connected initiatorily. It allows us to actually play the part of the soul. Leo is the dramatic player. Play the part of the soul in personality life. Play the part in personality life. And represent the soul as you live through the personality. Okay. Okay, so, just reminding ourselves of what we are doing here. Okay, here it is. The man consciously utilizes all he has gained or is gaining under the law for the definite benefit of humanity. Generously pour forth your light and love. Intelligently dominate the entire threefold lower man. So let's just say here, generously, because that's the Leo nature. Pour forth the light in the spirit of love, animating your fellow human beings and your lower nature. I speak of anima as the soul and Leo as that fire sign most related to the soul, Aries to the spirit, and Sagittarius to the personality. Well, with Virgo, if you're in the seventh petal, the birth is going to occur or has occurred. So bring the soul to birth in a practical way on the in the lower worlds, and tend the needs of the soul as it attempts to express in the lower worlds. Remove the little obstacles to its expression. So thus continue to improve your character so that the veils can be lifted, that the veils to soul expression can be lifted. Nurture the Christ which has been confirmed in you, and make sure that the knowledge you have accumulated is accurate and exact. We could say that of the fifth ray as well. So, and I'm going to go back there to the fifth ray and say something similar to this. I'll say this. I'll say, test for accuracy your accumulated knowledge. Put it to the test. Oftentimes, with the theoretical third ray, there's the tendency to think that if it has been theorized, that may be enough to guarantee its accuracy. But the fifth ray will put the knowledge to the test and say, okay, if you're going to apply this knowledge to yourself for the sake of self-control or to others in service, is this knowledge really true? Is it accurate? So Virgo is, is all about practical service. Be practical in your heartfelt soul service in the lower worlds. And actually, bring out of yourself that which has come to birth within yourself. I think that is fairly clear. Now, Libra is the sign of this petal. If you start with Aries at the first petal and move in the counterclockwise or zodiacal, normal zodiacal direction. And we have talked a lot about Libra here. Let's just say this is a third aspect sign. Let knowledge contribute to the marriage, to the, let's just say, to the first phase of marriage of the soul and personality. Seek balance in the etheric and endocrine system. Raise the sacral center energy into a new form of creativity. Pursue beauty. This is one of the ways, to create beauty at the throat center is one of the ways of really drawing the sacral center energy upward. We know of Libra that it can be associated with, for the undeveloped man, what DK calls blind, passionate reaction. I just had it in my mind, but let's go there and just take a look. It's in Esoteric Astrology, page 333, and it's called Unbalanced Fiery Passion. Okay, that's it. Unbalanced Fiery Passion. But later all is done under the law. And in general, use knowledge under a higher law. And relate to others as souls under the law of polar union, which is the second law of the soul. So this allows us to actually meet people as souls and treat them as souls and begin the process of merging with them as souls. And let's just say control your personality in a balanced and wise manner. Do not go to extremes in self-regulation. Time will come for that, perhaps, under the Scorpio energy, but as it stands now, there is no need to be fanatical and focus energy in too strong a current when attempting to balance the lower mechanism. And let's just say, do all you can to harmonize the two poles of your nature. And use your accumulated knowledge to do so. Libra has a strong fifth ray via Venus, and so and DK tells us it's very effective on the physical plane, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to relate the second and third aspects. So use Libra to harmoniously relate the second and third aspects of divinity, because Libra has both of them. And let's just say the more harmony, increase harmony within your nature, and thus increase harmony in all your relations with others, according to soul law, such as the golden rule, We have to learn to see people as they really are and see the beauty of people and not just the outer person. Well, Scorpio is active at all of the initiations, first, second, and third. Definitely. It has a peculiar testing potency, so overcome the physical heads of the Hydra, sex, the wrong use of money, and the use of comfort as a method of idling your progress, delaying your progress. So with Scorpio here, we have to definitely eliminate all that stands in the way of the first initiation, and promote again the rising of the sacral center energy to the throat center. Scorpio can be involved in the concentration of energy at the sacral center, and work on the overcoming of basic glamours, especially those related to the physical plane. Without Scorpio, we would not make the progress, the thorough progress that we must. So cleanse the aura by delving into the hidden, unsuspected factors. In a way, it's a lot like Pluto in that respect. Warrior am I, and from the battle I emerged triumphant. So let the first initiation be your first spiritual triumph, and it's especially in the control of the etheric physical nature and the control of the those particular impulses, and the sex impulse, particularly the sacral impulse. So I think we find Scorpio ever ready. Be prepared for the drastic experiences which must precede the first initiation. Pluto and Vulcan are both involved, and we see what's happening with humanity in this antechamber to the first initiation. It's going through a drastic cleansing. So be prepared to have consciousness become more alive, even as we die to certain personality tendencies. So be ready to give up under the law of sacrifice, the lesser for the greater. And this is so, very true. Scorpio has a lot to do both with the law of sacrifice and with the law of repulse, and it's said to be the law of those who choose to die. Well, choose to die philosophically and spiritually for the establishment of higher spiritual values. There comes a time when we simply realize that if we continue in our old way, we shall not achieve. Now, in the fifth petal, the energy of Scorpio is used to defeat egoism. And let's just say, continue the battle with lower selfhood, ahamkara, egoism, because that's ruled by Leo, and Scorpio has this square relationship to Leo, and it stages the release through death of lower Leo. I'd like to kind of state that in an expanded way. Scorpio stages the release through death of lower Leo. So, in other words, we have the whole idea here, be willing to die for the higher life. Realize that by losing your customary life, you will find the higher life that is waiting to be yours. So there is a kind of a very great sacrifice before the first initiation, really before all, but you're entering the fifth kingdom for the first time. You have to be prepared for really going in a different direction. It may look, quite normal on the outer planes, but your orientation is entirely different, and you've given up the lower desires. And Scorpio is very good for that because it stages the death of the desire nature and eventually the death of the personality. Well, also related to initiations 1 and 2 is the sign Sagittarius. So pursue higher intuitive knowledge, or at least the perspective of the abstract mind, with both of which Sagittarius is related, and promote alignment and integration in your personality and with your soul. Let's say that Sagittarius is the sign of vision, and the vision really changes at the first degree. So elevate, or let's just say, bring the vision of the soul into as constant a sight as possible, and strive towards this vision using all knowledge at your disposal. And also inspire others with the vision and knowledge of the soul. Well, here is Capricorn, also related to the first initiation and to all 5, really. So make the first great ascent. See, in the 7th petal, you have to have strenuous and abnormal efforts before the first degree, in a way, because the initiate is initiate before initiated, and then the application of the rods. So be utterly practical in this ascent, and use all knowledge in confirming the ascent and the birth of the Christ in the heart. So, this is not just a question of envisioning. This is a question of do what is necessary to take the first degree. Actually do it. And bring into concrete birth upon the physical plane the presence of the soul, Christ aspect, which is blossoming in the heart. So it takes realize the realism that is required in the initiatory process. This is not fanciful. And let's just say, follow the rules and use all knowledge to assist in the following of the rules, which will make of one a true initiate of the first degree. And so this is the climb climb into the fifth kingdom of nature and take a stable stand there. Realize that soul expression works through a sense of responsibility. So there's a serious, be utterly serious about the first degree and its requirements and its mode of expression in practical life. Well, you know, we have a sign there that is so connected with the first, so connected with the first degree. With Aquarius, it is a sign maybe more connected with the second degree, but also let the consciousness of the soul reveal the soul nature of the group. Become group conscious. And spread all knowledge accumulated far and wide in the attempt to serve, because there's such a distributive aspect to Aquarius. It is the sign of decentralization, and let's just say continue to reduce your sense of isolated selfhood and realize yourself in the group and as the group. Begin using your knowledge to advance together with others. Now that, you know, starts to suggest some of the other laws of the soul which come into greater power later. And let's just say be scientific. Be scientific about the management of the personality, and use new techniques. Let's see, TQS techniques may be new to you, and progress into the fifth kingdom of nature. After all, this is a fifth ray sign allied with the fifth kingdom of nature, and simply share. This is one of the big factors involved in the first initiation for humanity, that they will learn some measure of sharing, some measure of peace, some measure of spiritual cleanliness. Okay, just little stimulative thoughts, and you'll come up with your own as well, of course. When it comes to Pisces, let go of the fourth kingdom of nature and enter the fifth kingdom of nature. Dissolve the hold which the fourth kingdom of nature has upon you. It's not immediate, of course. And cultivate, cultivate empathy, just as in all the water signs, especially Cancer and Pisces, where Neptune is so strong. Cultivate empathy so that you will know where and how to use your accumulated knowledge. Dissolve the power which your personality has over you, so you can enter more fully the position of the soul. Dismount from the mutable cross and set foot upon the fixed cross. That's where you are now. And let's just say melt your lower ego, your lower personal self, and begin with Aquarius the process of decentralization. Now, by the time we become the master, we are a point within a circle, and yet that point is everywhere. We are also decentralized. Our lower ego is not that around which all other energies must revolve. We have achieved a greater ubiquity. We realize ourselves to be in everything. That's coming later, but of course we have to reduce the hold of the ego. And Pisces, through humility, reduce the hold of the ego. Through humility, reduce the hold of the ego and the power of the personality, which must subside in importance through humility. You know, as long as we think that we as a personal person are very important, it is difficult to control the tendencies of the personality. But when we begin to dissolve the powers of the personality and absorb it, and absorb them into the soul nature, the personality becomes more controllable. Now, we can't do that overnight, but at least at the first degree, it has to begin. We are, you know, leave behind the fourth kingdom of nature, leave it, or begin to leave it in pralaya and enter a new field of experience and expression. So, you know, we're already there in a sense, but once we have sacrificed ourselves strenuously, we can slip into this new kingdom with its new identity. Well, there's just many things to be said there, but the taking of the first initiation is such an important point. Here I'll try to be a little bit brief about the planets, and I will just say, become increasingly the higher self. Realize that with the birth of the Christ in the heart, birth of the Christ in the heart, we are assuming a new identity. With the moon, look at the imperfections and continue to cleanse them away. To eliminate them so that the moon wanes and eventually falls. So, you know, less and less, this is a, first degree is a major moment of overcoming the lunar tendencies. The lunar lords are there, they're going to put up a fight, but the shift in emphasis is towards that soul luminary in the microcosmic sky. Few colons here. I think a lot of us, you know, are working in this petal. You can work in more than one petal, but certainly we are accumulating our knowledge. We're building upon the initiatory theme. We're cultivating the Christ in the heart. Vulcan, use the spiritual will to act as the soul would act. And use Vulcan to control and dominate the threefold lower man. Get a grip upon your lower self and use all knowledge to do so. Represent the spiritual will at least incipiently before others. Be firm in your expression of soul values to others. Now, you can't do that immediately, but increasingly you will be able to do that. The instabilities, the vacillating between soul and personality will be subdued. Vulcan has to continue to conquer Mars. Mars is the lower physical nature. Vulcan asserts the spiritual will in that physical nature. Mars is the astral body. Vulcan asserts control over those desires. Mars is the lower mind, and Vulcan, carrying all the light of the sun, of the soul, because it's so close, will subdue those lower mental tendencies. So the spiritual will is the will of the soul, and let's just say we're really coming under that. Vulcan is so important before the first initiation. Descend to the depths before the first initiation, and forge unbreakable bonds between the soul and the personality. Well, for Mercury, accumulate knowledge, be intelligent, accumulate knowledge of the soul, express the soul intelligently, use the throat center and the ajna center, both connected with Mercury. Mercury is an intuitive planet, but maybe it's more related here to higher mind. Use Mercury to link the mental unit with the egoic lotus. Meditate. See the contents of consciousness interrelated, and thus serve more intelligently. Continue to gather useful knowledge, and use knowledge to equilibrate the relationship between the soul and personality. I mean, if we're going to use all that we are accumulating for the welfare of others, Mercury is really the planet of intelligence, and will apply all energies intelligently in service and for the sake of self-control. So Mercury is really important here. It has a very strong third ray, but it also is opening the door to the Buddhi eventually, as it can blend with Manas. Maybe that happens a bit more in the next petal. With Venus, continue to approach the solar angel and bring its influence into the life through meditation. Blend your accumulated knowledge with a high degree of love, and promote the first stage of fusion or infusion, let's call it that, fusion of the soul and personality. Remain receptive to the energies of the higher mind, which Venus conditions, the energies which Venus conditions. Okay. because, this is, our work is the cultivation of the solar angel, and bringing it as a real factor, work at the domination of Mars by Venus. And that's what we have there. Let's see, maybe basically Mars should go after the Earth, should it not? With Earth, let's see, wait a second. I have, okay, let's just say, with all that initiation confers, offer practical service within the field of service which Earth represents. Commit the vital energies, the etheric energies, to service and to regulated control of the personality and especially of the dense physical vehicle. So let's just say an initiate is truly practical. Realize this. It is not merely a mystical state of achievement. And we're going to bring the earthly energies under control. So Earth is very much connected with the etheric body, and the etheric body must regulate the dense physical vehicle, which interestingly is more related to the moon. This is kind of a relationship here between the Earth and the moon. So always in this process of ascending through the initiatory levels, we have to be increasingly practical. When it comes to Mars, do not cease your aspiration. Confront the enemy within. Battle for the supremacy of the higher light and love. Be energetic in your pursuit of that which the soul promises. Be energetic in the application of knowledge to others in service and to your lower self. Conquer your lower self. Mars has a lot to do with the first three, actually, initiations. It is defeated by Vulcan finally, by that hidden planet Vulcan finally, when we reach the third initiation, which does not mean that Mars, let's say, is not a god and a being far beyond the scope of the human being. It's a planetary logos, after all. When it comes to Jupiter, envision the life of the soul. Gather all knowledge into a fused condition. Follow your vision and expand your horizons and the knowledge which can be gathered from the expanded horizons. Bring forth the hope which comes from entering a new kingdom of nature. Be for others an agent of growth by distributing the knowledge which will help them grow. So, represent the soul, just as you would in relation to Venus. So there's so many, benevolent things here, and in general, treat others benevolently. Okay. Now, when it comes to Saturn, well, planet of discipleship, planet of initiation, inescapable planet. Use all knowledge lawfully and according to as much of the divine plan as you may understand. Regulate. Regulus, regulate your not self. Regulate your not self. Control it. Keep yourself within due bounds with all people, and do what is appropriate to promote their soul growth and expression. Discipline the lower nature until it conforms to that which, the soul wills. Okay. Well, without Saturn, we would be nowhere. And, the path of initiation is tough. So simply accept the new disciplines of the fifth kingdom of nature. Accept the new disciplines. Bear the burden and fulfill the karma which comes, using all knowledge you have accumulated to do so. And don't try to escape Saturn. Okay. Well, when it comes to Uranus, realize that you have entered a new kingdom. Use the new form of knowledge to bring about a higher condition in your personality, and to change your relationships with others for the better, and in generally transmute and use all knowledge accumulated to promote transmutation, which is the improvement of the quality of matter generally. So you can improve the conditions of the vehicles and be authentic and meet the soul in all authenticity, and recognize your higher nature brought forth to your personality realization in an authentic manner. The soul is nothing but authentic, and is presenting the true self to whatever you have thought you were, So, all right, just a little more here. Neptune, you're meeting the Christ. So, enter the subtle realms. And, and realize that higher knowledge is subtle knowledge and can be acquired intuitively. So allow the first phases of intuition to grow. Develop a sensitive understanding of yourself and others. Empathic and knowing directly. Intuitively. Okay. So we're going to rise into the higher worlds and treat as real the subtle forms of knowledge. Do not become immersed in the in the glamours of the path. It's so easy. Avoid inflation and use Saturn to help avoid inflation. Do not succumb to wishful thinking. So temper imagination with realism. And generally realism is going to come from another quarter than from Neptune, unless it's realism about the very highest planes. Well, when it comes to Pluto, again, so important before the first initiation. Continue to heal and purify the vehicle for the sake of initiatory union. Reject, eject poisons, pierce glamours, let all concealed obstacles be raised and then transmute them using Uranus. But this is the dredge, Pluto is the dredge going into the very depths to find that which is concealed. So, there must be a general cleansing before it becomes possible, really, to take that first degree and use great willpower in your pursuit of that which is cleaner, higher, more godly. Pluto is the source of great will, so use the power in the depths in a constructive manner and in a knowledgeable manner. Cut free from all that holds you to personality identification. Not completely, but initially. You are now in a new kingdom, and you are, in a sense, dying to identification with the identification with the lower kingdom. Put to death that which does not serve your advance towards the soul. Well, okay, every one of us is going to have to say, okay, where am I? What am I working on? What have I got? What are my tools? What are my energies? And then, one by one, you fill this in for yourself. I've done this in a kind of general way. I've done this for myself too, planet by planet, ray by ray, and especially for the, prominent rays and the prominent planets, how do I fulfill the task which is before me? And it is always a task which will lead to the development and further unfoldment of the petals, petal concerned. Well, okay, so friends, this is going to be the end of the Egoic Lotus Webinar Commentary Program 69. It's going to be about 2 hours here. It's going to be practical advice. Hope it is. For Petal 7, in approximately 2 hours, and beginning of Egoic Lotus, of Egoic EGL Webinar Commentary Program 70, practical advice for petal 8. Such an important petal. But we're getting into the petals where we all should be, working. We are serious students of Master DK and of Theosophy and of the ageless wisdom, and we have accepted the forcing process of initiation, and we're submitting ourselves to strenuous labor. We are undergoing strenuous and abnormal efforts. It's definitely abnormal. The initiate is supposed to be the example of sanctified sanctified normality, and yet, in order to reach that position, he has to subject himself to an abnormal forcing process. Everyone is going to have a unique approach. The kind of things that I can offer here get us started thinking, But it's only as you meditate yourself on your own unique way into the inner sanctum that you will see the ways that you are to use your energies. And, even if we can identify the petal that we're working within and identify which energies have most to be utilized because they are the energies that are strongest in our ray chart and our astrological chart, still there's going to be a unique approach which will only come to you through meditation and intuitively, hopefully, eventually, and will guide you in the right use of energy on a day-to-day basis as we undertake these tasks which lead to the development of this beautiful inner structure, the Egoic Lotus, the Temple of Solomon. Okay, well, let's close this little section with a great invocation. And, let's do that. I always have to leave things unsaid and realize that some of the things unsaid are better than the things that were said. But so be it, and one can only do what one can do, and time, though illusory, is a limitation. So, from the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Okay, as intricate as all this may be, above all else, we wish to be practical so you can do something with it. Just because a thing is complex doesn't mean you can't do something with it. So this is a complex study, but we can extract the salient points and say, well, here's my life, here's my day, here's the moment. What does it call for? What do I apply? How do I do it? And then we proceed. All right, friends, that's going to be it for this program number 69. On to program number 70. Yes, and we will take then the last two petals in the ninefold tier, because we've done the synthesis petals already in a way that's close enough to this, and we proceed. See you soon.